award for service goes to Ted Foote, class of 1979. Alumna Emily Bacon will share with us a little bit of why she nominated him. Okay.
I was told I had 3 minutes. So, here we go. The Very Reverend and not totally retired Theodore Versal Foote Jr. It is fitting that tonight, for such an avid fan of Major League Baseball, that he would be honored on this, the very night that the MLB announces their 2024 Hall of Fame inductees. Many of you know Ted, and many more of you probably know of him. He is most well known in the Peace USA for his publication in partnership with Reverend Alex Thornburg called Being Presbyterian in the Bible Belt. Theology and polity are definitely Ted's strengths, but beyond this, Ted also strives to more deeply understand the systems and people that move and shape our society today. And that is what makes him such an excellent pastor. His passion for public education, for example, has helped to support students, teachers, and parents in raising the leaders of tomorrow. Ted has also published numerous other works, including the quite recently Public Education is a Sacred Calling and Being Disciples of Jesus in a .com World. And let me tell you, I was surprised that he wrote that one. Ted, I love you. His books have helped thousands to more deeply understand God's role in not only their lives, but within their communities. Now, I did ask Ted for his resume to make sure that I got every detail correct, and he called me to make sure that I got the details correct. But truthfully, his resume wouldn't tell you a thing about who he is. You see, I've worked with Ted as his associate pastor for the past 5 years, and I can tell you that he's a lifelong learner, a coach, a teacher, and a dutiful caregiver. He works longer and harder than anyone else, from moderating presbyteries to mopping the floors. He's a minister to people, animals, and even inanimate objects. Ted takes broken people and he helps them to find wholeness by partnering with them in their journeys to God's calling on their lives. He's honest, and he is tough, but he's always loving. And I know that I'm not alone when I say that I owe my entire career and who I have become to the blessings of my time spent with Ted. But I didn't want you to just take it from me, so I called up a few of his friends, and here's what they had to say. From former church member Ken Telg, Ted's faith is unquestioned. He's rock solid in his theology, and he wrote the book on how to be a pastor to the entire community. And he's a die-hard Houston Astros fan. From former co-worker Karen Berg, one of the things I love most about Ted is his ability to see each person in their wholeness. He listens and meets them where they are with grace and love. From former associate pastor Marie Mickey, the best way to start a day is sitting with Ted over a cup of coffee, sorting through the problems of the world, or just talking about the mundane things of life. From his dear friend Vicki Binger, he is knowledgeable about the Cotton Bowl and Cotton Matters. He is at home in the kitchen and at the school board meeting. He is the epitome of someone who serves the people with energy, intelligence, imagination, and love. From his dear wife Joni, it's who he is. He is there beside whoever needs him in the moment, every moment that he is needed by family, friends, church, and someone on the street. Now this next one and this last one is my favorite. I called his best friend, Reverend Frank Eman, who graduated alongside him in 1979. They've been best friends for 49 years. And I couldn't get Frank off the phone. So instead of giving me one line about the thing he loves most about Ted, he gave me a story. 49 years ago, in the seminary dorms, right there in Curry Hall, Frank Eman was struggling with Hebrew and Greek, and he had actually packed up all of his things on his little buggy attached to his motorcycle, and he was determined to leave seminary forever. He even told the registrar, "I'm done, I'm out of here, that's it." And then he goes back to the dorm and he sees Ted. And Ted said, "Now you can't quit." And I believe that. Ted always tells people they can't quit. And he just said to Frank, "You've got to drill the vocab, Frank. You have to get the little cards that they make, the flashcards, and you just have to drill that vocab." And so Frank tried. And he made his own little flashcards there with Ted, and he tried, and it just wasn't working. And so Ted tried different approaches with Frank, determined to keep Frank here at the seminary. And finally, after nothing worked, Ted turned to his own personal touch. He took 2 of Frank's flashcards. One of them, he held it up, he said, "What is this?" And Frank said, "Teos." Ted said, "Well, what's it mean?" "God." Then Ted took a blank flashcard and he wrote down the word Dora. And he said, "This word means gift. Now put the 2 together and what do you get? You get Teos Doran. Theodore, that's me." And he said, "God's gift." And Ted said, "Yes, I am God's gift." And truly, I have to say, Ted is God's gift to us. Now, because of that story, Frank actually finished seminary, got his degree. He is waiting for the seminary to regret giving him that degree and take it back. But he thanks Ted, and he says that his life was forever changed and continually inspired by Teos Doron. So thank you, Ted, for being God's special, very special gift to us all. And Frank can't be here today, but I'd like to end with his salutation to you, Ted, and say, "Happy coronation."
Gary told me that if Emily went over 3 minutes, I would just be asked to wave from where I was sitting. So I just wrote it down on the back of a napkin. Emily, I was banking that you might be just not very far over 3 minutes. The class of 1979, like other classes here, was indeed a remarkable set of people. And if any one of us, I suspect, had their name on something like this, it's because it was a really great class. And as has been said this evening, just ordinary folks who showed up and became part of a stream of people standing on other people's shoulders. So on behalf of the whole class, I can accept this. But one intern, well, to say nothing about growing up in Gatesville, Texas, and Coryell County, and being a student at Baylor University, I worked for the track coach, Clyde Hart, and that's probably where I learned to multitask. So I owed a lot before I ever got to Austin Seminary. But here, in addition to faculty, after my second year, 4 of us went to the Houston area, and I served as an intern with George Kluber at First Presbyterian Church in Pasadena. And George taught me that you can, and I didn't know squat about ministry at the time, but George taught me that you can laugh as you're working. And when there's healthy laughter in the church, a lot more ministry gets done with a lot more enthusiasm. And I came back here to finish up, and then I was called to be associate pastor with Tom Schmidt in San Antonio at the San Pedro Church. And for those of you, I know Bill and others, the factor of laughter in ministry only got amped up.
That's for sure.
In fact, in that church where there were several retired military officers, they were pretty sure that Tom and I laughed so much that we must not be getting the work done. But little did they know, the more we laughed, actually, the more work we could get done. Keaton King told me this week that ministry is about the sacred and the absurd and being able to distinguish between the two, but get along in the midst of both. And Keaton, if I misquoted you, you were right, even if I misquoted you. But I owe a whole lot, as you can imagine, to my spouse Joni and Kendall and Peyton, who both went through at least a little bit of baseball, and that was a chapter in our lives. Joni has forbidden me to do any more youth league umpiring. She says you don't see well enough, and the ball could hit you and you could be hurt. So I'm trying to find my way at an advanced age into something other than umpiring youth league baseball. But to finish up, when I was at some point in college, maybe I was in seminary, my dad would write a letter longhand to my sister and my brother and I. Marcia's here tonight. Brian lives in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And in one of those letters, he quoted John James Audubon's quote, "The woods would be very silent if only those birds sang who sing best." Now, if you have ever heard me sing, you know I might have thought that was an encouragement to really work on my singing. But it was about far more than that. And so when I left the San Pedro Church for us to go to East Texas, the youth group there framed a pen and ink of that saying that I still have. But I also think that thanks goes out to all of my friends in ministry and church members, you all and others, because together we help each other to know that the woods would be very silent if only those birds sang who sing best. Now, you can say, Foote, speak for yourself. I'm better than that. I understand that, but I'm going to take John James Audubon's word on that. Thank you very much.